All right, here we go with part 2 of the critique for your best shot assignment. And let's jump right into it. A nice shot looking down the highway with all the streaking lights. I'm going to give you a motion shot in which I'm going to ask you not to do this, but this one works pretty well. The only thing I would do is use a couple of the tricks we've just learned about using layer masks to see if I can open up the information in these trees a little better. And in order to see if I can do that, the first thing I'm going to do is come into adjustments, levels. Hopefully I can call it the right thing this time. And see if, oh yeah, there's all kinds of data in there. So all we have to do is try to get it back out. So I'm going to cancel that. And we'll do it in our old familiar way. We'll make a duplicate layer. We're going to use a layer mask, so we'll go to a screen mode. Yeah, we've got a lot more detail in there. We'll hold down the Alt key and press the layer mask. We get our black thumbnail. And all I'm going to do with this, once I get a bigger brush, is see what in here I can open up with that. Now, remember what we can do with our layer masks is if we want to double up on that setting, we just duplicate that last mask, and now we've opened up more. I think the only thing I would do now maybe is darken that sign a little bit. So I'm going to flatten this. It's late, gang, I'm sorry. I'm going to flatten this. Make a duplicate layer. Make it now a multiply layer. Yeah, you can see all the detail that's now in here. So again, I'll make this an inverted mask. The white brush is still active. So I'll make it considerably smaller. Now we've got a little more detail in there. So I would, other than dressing up some of those tones, I don't think there's a whole lot for us to do. I'm going to make this brush very soft. See if there's anything in these headlights I can bring in. I doubt it. Maybe a little bit, but not much. Okay, so that's about the end of what we can do with this one. I think the only thing I might do is offset the center highway a little bit so it's not quite so centered. But other than that, I think this works okay. So let's go on to the next one. Little home tableau here with the little white dog and the nice clean detail in here. Number one thing I would do is straighten it up before I do anything else. So remember with this, if I pull a guide in from the ruler, I can set it on what should be this upright. Now I'll do a select all and edit, transform, skew, and we'll pull out that bottom to straighten it up a little bit. The other side looked like it remained pretty straight, so we can live with that. All right. I hit enter. deselect. We'll get rid of that guideline with the clear guides. And now we can see if there's anything we'd like to do. This has a nice look to it. I don't know that there was much I would do, but I want to check. When in doubt, check. You can always back off of it. So I'll duplicate this layer. And now I'm going to try a soft light to add some contrast. And I'm going to back off of this about halfway. So now I've got a little more richness in the shot than we had before. We can check that with a snapshot. Here's where we are now. There's where we started. So it's subtle. There isn't a big change, but it lightened it up a little. If you had something you could put in these windows, that would be very cool. They'd be very easy to select with these nice straight lines, or with a luminosity mask, which we'll talk about as we go on. But it would be easy to drop something in there. But in the meantime, this works. It's a nice motivated light source for the shot. So very cool. Let's move on. Well, we've got the beachfront. There are a couple of things here that we really have to look out for. And one of them is this bit of sensor dust or dirt or whatever it is that's right smack in the middle of the shot. So step number one is I'm going to get rid of that. And I will come over and grab the spot healing brush. Make my brush just a little bit bigger than the spot. Click on it. And now that's gone. I think there are probably a couple of others up in here, but I'm not totally sure that's what it is. So I'll leave those alone. My second issue with this is that we've put this right smack in the middle of the shot. You need to decide when you've done that. This is clearly the important part of your shot. But what is the most important supporting element? The water or the sky? So let's check out both and see what might work here. Let's say maybe it's the water. So we'd bring that down, run our rule of thirds line right through the important part, and there's one option. The other option is to do exactly the opposite and make the sky a little more important. I think personally this works a little bit better, so let's bring this in a little. We hit enter to take it. Now let's see what we might do with that sky to put a little more detail in it. Let's see first of all if simple exposure will do it. So let's try multiply. Oh, that's a whole lot better. So I'm going to use a normal layer mask. This is white, so I need a black brush. Okay, I'm going to flatten that. I don't know if this will work, but I think it would be nice to bring out some of that sky texture a little better, so we're going to try it. This time we're going to use a layer style we haven't used before. It's called luminosity. And what luminosity does is it will impose the tones from the top layer onto the bottom layer. And to get the tones that we want, we're going to turn this into a black and white, the top layer anyway, and show you what we can do. So we've got black and white. And now what I want to do is darken these blues. It's going to darken everything, but don't worry about it. Remember, we don't have to take everything globally. So let's try that. A little of that. Let's say OK. We'll make that again. We'll make that a layer mask. And we already have a black brush happening there. So we'll go through and we'll bring this back. And now I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to flatten it. Make a new layer. And again, I'm looking just at the sky. Ooh, that's interesting. So let's see what we can do with that. The layer mask again. And now I would like to lighten the beachfront property just a touch. So one more time. This time we'll do it as a screen layer, except I want to do it as an inverted mask. And I want to set the opacity down. When we're starting to play like this, again, don't go full bore with it. I'm going to set it to about 20%. Oh, that's good. And I'm going to duplicate that layer just to increase the effect. Bring that opacity down. And now we've got a fairly bright beach scene we could play with. What you guys need to do is take some of these things I've been showing you and play with them. Learn these tools. The only way you're going to learn the tools is to play with them. If it all comes out terrible, no big deal, don't save it. But that's the way to learn. Okay, a little floral scene here. Remember my first admonition, where is our major scene? Where is the real photograph? And it's in here. What does the rest of it do to help enhance that main subject? Well, some of this provides some nice movement in it. This isn't doing much of anything for us. This, maybe if we altered our tones a little bit, could be okay. Right now it's a little distracting because it's the same tonality as our main theme. So let's start, first of all, by getting rid of some of this extraneous stuff. I'm already cut into this a little, so it's not going to hurt if we cut into it a little more. Now let's see what we can do to take some of these tones down selectively. Remember, I could just burn and dodge this, but I risk really messing up the color. So I'm going to do our old favorite way here with a multiply layer. That's a little much, so I'm going to cut the exposure down. Okay, and now we have a regular layer mask going. I'm still at about 27%, so I can build this a little bit at a time. Now we've kept all of this toned way back so that our eye really is drawn to the main subject, the main area of the photograph, which is in here. Do I want to do this? No, I don't think so. Well, the cool thing is I can take it back down by changing my brush color back to white. And I can, in essence, back out that effect, back out that layer change. Now, this is a little bright for me, so I'm going to want to get rid of that. I could simply burn it down. That'd be easy enough. But maybe the thing to do is to take this dark area and force a vignette there. So I'm going to flatten this. Pick up my clone stamp tool. Hold down the Alt key to pick up my area that I want to draw from. And now just get rid of that. Just to get rid of that distraction. I'm going to do the same thing over here. All right. Now we'd have to decide, maybe I could tone this down a little bit. It's a pretty neutral tone, so I'm thinking that maybe just the normal burn tool will work. And I'm not going to have to worry too much about a color issue. Yeah, good. Okay. All right. We're a little more dramatic than we were. There's our original. There's our new one. Okay. That's it for the second module. We've got 2 or maybe 3 to go before we're done. But at least we're underway, and I'll have these done and up as soon as I can. And we'll get back after it. See you in the next module.